Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about episode 4 of Quiet on Set, the docuseries.
This is the last episode of the series. We actually did all 4 episodes at one time. Please do us the due diligence of subscribing, liking, commenting.
Yeah, join the discussion. This
Yes.
was really eye-opening. Mm-hmm.
All the above. If you didn't see episode 3, 2, 1, go back and watch 1, 2, 3. And then come back and watch episode 4 with us. You ready to walk us through it?
I'm ready.
Let's go, Blair.
So we get to the trial, and Brian's entire side of the courtroom was full.
Crazy.
Drake's side was his mom, his dad, and his brother, I believe he said.
This is crazy because I don't know if y'all ever been to court before, but when you see one side of the room full like that, that's supporters.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? His side. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I can just imagine his oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Like the gravity of what's about to happen is like setting in.
Yeah. So Brian was convicted, but he did receive a lot of support.
Yeah.
Drake's mom actually addressed him during the trial, but Drake decided to address the room. He didn't feel the need to speak to Brian. Mm-hmm. There was nothing to say. He asked these people, "How dare you?" He said, "You'll forever have the memory of sitting in the courtroom defending this person, and I'll forever have the memory of the person you're defending violating me and doing unspeakable acts of crime."
And that's what's crazy, because when you're in a courtroom, especially going through a court case of something of this accusation, all details is coming out in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So at no point in day 1, 2, 3, however days it took, did they switch over? Because you're hearing everything. We didn't get everything.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We seen little documents that they showed us of things that happened and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you actually get to hear the story played out because they want, the jury to hear to make the decision. Yeah, and nothing is to be, even in the last episode when the lawyer sat down with Drake Bell, they said, tell us everything.
Yeah.
Like literally leave nothing out.
Times, situations, everything.
And what happened to you. Mm-hmm. And him having to relive that over and over again, because we want every detail. Yeah. It's just sad.
Well, Brian pled no contest. He was sentenced to 16 months in jail, and he was ordered to register as a sex offender.
16 months. Wow. At one point, I thought he wasn't going to get jail time. I thought they were just going to give him 16 months probation or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were going to do, honestly. But to me, something like that, and especially for a child.
Yeah.
Essentially, you took somebody's life.
No, you did. You robbed him.
And the thing is that murder and all that type of stuff carries a lot more weight. Mm-hmm. But I think of inflicting that type of trauma onto somebody so impressionable is taking somebody's life.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I'm interested to know how much did he serve.
Yeah.
Even though he got 16, he may have served only 9 months. Right. You get what I'm saying? So 16 months is definitely not long enough for what was allegedly done to Drake Bell and things of that nature.
And Brian received 41 letters of support.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until this docuseries to where they actually got to find out who were some of the people that wrote these letters.
Yeah, they unsealed it, yep.
James Marsden.
Shame on you.
Alan Thicke.
Well, you're dead, but shame on you.
Taryn Killian.
Shame on you.
Thomas DeSanto.
Shame on you.
Ryder Strong.
Shame on you.
And Will Friedle.
Shame on you. And let me tell you why. And there's other names, but let me give you why it's shame on you. One thing I learned in back when I was taking criminal justice and things like that. Mm-hmm. Whenever it comes to a sexual crime, they will always ask you, especially if someone pleaded not guilty, they will always ask the one if I'm accused of it, have some people write the judge for some leniency.
Okay.
Or something like that. I've learned to never put your name when it comes to sexual crime, asking for leniency for somebody. Because there's something about sexual crimes, you can know everybody. You can really know somebody until it comes to their sexual life. Mm-hmm. And you really don't want to put your name on something like that because they can unseal the documents one random day on a regular Monday, on a regular Tuesday when they do this docuseries. And you're like, I didn't have all the details. They even said to shoot them some bail. Hey, listen, we don't know what these people was told or why they was writing. But even some of the letters and that they were saying in the letters was things like, basically, Brian was tricked into this.
Or he was tempted.
He was tempted.
Like, and a lot of them were using that same language.
Yes,
so that makes it hard for me to think that you didn't know.
What happens is
you didn't know about the nature of the case when you're talking about a child tempting a man.
I tell you what happens in cases like this, when it comes to sexual acts like this and things of that nature. The lawyer kind of give you a template of how to write it. The lawyer basically tell you what keywords to say. It's kind of like depending what job you interview for, they run your resumes through like this machine or like through this thing, and there's got to be certain keywords in your resume for it to pop out, for them to come out on top. That's basically what happens in these type of letters, right? So words like tempted, or why you kept seeing that, things like this not his character, like words like that, those are highlighted words in these type of cases, in these sexual cases, which it could be against men and women. They basically want you to speak of the character that he is, quote unquote. But whenever there's a sexual man and woman, woman, whatever it is, do not put your name on it.
I would say don't write the letter, period. Because
don't put it.
Because I would say when it comes to a sexual nature, you don't know how people are.
You don't know what goes on at night.
No, you don't know what people are into. You don't know what type of things people do. If you're in a working relationship or somebody's even your friend, you don't know what they do.
No. They say anybody. They said don't write a letter for anybody. Family member, friend, don't. That's
what I'm saying. Don't write the letter. Not just don't leave your name off. Don't write the letter, because you do not know what people do when the doors are closed.
Oh, no. I don't know if you misheard me. I didn't say don't leave your name off. They said don't write the letter.
Okay, yeah, you didn't say that. You said don't put your name on it because they can unseal it. And I'm saying don't write the letter.
No. What I meant to say was don't put your name to writing a letter. Basically, like, don't write the letter.
Okay.
And things of that nature. I don't know if I was misheard or like I misspoke, but don't write the letter.
Okay.
Because you don't want to put your name to someone.
Don't attach yourself to
that. Don't attach your name to that. Because when it comes to somebody's sexual acts, you don't know what they do in the dark. You really don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't know, like you said, what they were told about the case.
Yeah.
But moving on. So, Brian ended up getting out, and he started working again on the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
It was somebody, I don't know, you wrote their name.
It was a lady who said that she didn't know the nature of the case, and if she would have known, she would have never wrote the letter.
Yeah, it was the husband and the wife or something like that, to where they was somebody in power. And Brian basically ended up working with them. He was like, yeah, something happened, but it's all settled. It's all resolved. And then he ended up working on Disney Channel. Yeah,
but they ended up getting rid of him.
Yeah.
After they found out how everything really played out.
But what happens is they got rid of him because they have to take public reaction. Because once they hired him, they started writing articles about they hired this offender.
Yeah.
And things like that. And they were like, oh. But that kind of leads me to believe, like, you knew this.
Yeah.
But you thought that Brian Peck wasn't big enough that you could just sneak him in and things like that, and he could just work behind the scenes and not do anything and not be seen on camera. He ain't Pickle Boy no more. But no, people will find out, and they started basically writing about you, and basically you got bad press, and now you want to be reactionary. You get what I'm saying?
Well, after the arrest, Nickelodeon continued to grow.
Yeah.
Dan had even more shows.
Yeah.
And there was also a third person around that time that got arrested for another child assault case.
Yeah.
So there was iCarly.
Another big show.
And with iCarly coming out, the internet kind of taking more of a craze. Dan was going around recording people and posting these exclusive videos online of behind the scenes.
Now, here's where Dan is quote unquote a genius, because he was very technology savvy. So he realized the rise of YouTube and how it was. He basically created a YouTube type of show, but on TV. Right? So basically you get to go on the show and watch the show, but if you want to see behind the scene content, you could go on YouTube and basically watch what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And things like that. And I'm like, why can't you just, like, obviously you have an eye for what to do. You're forward thinking. Why are you a jerk though?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And somebody said it in the in the docuseries, to where we just accept that, oh, if someone is mean spirited, if someone is nasty, if someone is basically all these things, they gotta be a genius. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that.
Right.
Because truth be told, how Dan acted towards women, how Dan acted towards children, it was his choice, and it was intentional, even though he may have been forward thinking with all these shows and things like that.
Yeah. Well, he was pushing the boundaries of sexualizing these young girls.
Nastiness.
Making jokes about them getting slapped in the face with different items, goo getting squeezed on people's faces. A costume designer said that Dan had this arrested development to where he kind of wanted to be accepted by the cool girls, which were the women or the little girl actresses on the show,
which is weird.
Yeah. So they had a scene to where on the Jamie Lynn's show, and she had goo squirted in her face, and everyone, where the boys are pretty much like, oh yeah, that's the money shot right there. And my thing is, like, these people in this room knew the joke behind the joke, and but nobody could do anything.
And that's why Blake will pull our kids out of it immediately.
Yeah. There were too many sexual innuendos. There were online extra scenes, like with Ariana Grande and Bet licking her feet, pouring water on herself, trying to squeeze the juice out of a potato. And that was all just like disgusting. And my thing is, why even like these, now that I look back on it, of having these scenes with children in bed. Why are we why are we viewing children in bed in like a vulnerable, intimate space? There's no, I mean, I used to watch The Big Comfy Couch. Put them on a couch if you want them to look cozied up somewhere. You don't have to show children in a bed.
You're right.
Well, Dan always talked women into giving him massages on set. And there was nobody there who was ever reining him in.
They say he got massages every day from anybody, any woman on the set. And that just shows the power. If you see how Dan was built back in the day and things like that, of course, he was flaunting his power. Yeah. Because no one wanted to massage him. You know what I'm saying? So he just make them massage him. Yeah. Weird behavior.
Well, in 2014, Dan won a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Teen's Choice Award. Then there were kids on the stage singing his praises, talking about how he created their careers.
Drake and everybody except
Jennette McCurdy. And Jennette, she actually wrote the book about being happy that her mom was dead. Yeah. And she spoke about a show creator who had two sides, who was generous but was also mean-spirited, and who was very verbally abusive and made people feel worthless. And she never named him, but people figured that it was probably him.
Of course.
So there was a concern that people had when they saw when Jennette's mom passed and she came back to work a week later. And people felt that he was promoting a toxic work environment. There was an internal investigation that was done, and he was eventually banned from the set.
Now watch how these lives are parallel to each other, right? He was banned from the set on his own show on What I Like About You. Years ago. Yeah. This is from episode 1 going into episode 2. You get what I'm saying? So now he's banned from his own set. Someone who is now, he's like, this is my show. There's no Will Cahoon or whoever running it with me. This is my show. And it's sad that it took for Jennette's mother to die, for her to come back a week later, for them to be like, oh, this is a toxic environment. Besides all the massages, all the money shot jokes, all these weird things going on. It took that, and now he's like not permitted from the show. I mean now he's permitted. Now he's banned from the show. He's not permitted on the set, right? And he's a hands-on director. Yeah, he's a hands-on writer. So now he can't interact with nobody. So how can people feel his power? Right. You get what I'm saying? Now he's in his own jail.
But then there's another side to that where the thing is that, okay, so he's banned from set, but we're not firing him because we still want him to make these hits and this money for us.
Yes. So that's the sad thing about it, is that now we got to look at the higher ups. Like, they care about the money. Yeah. They knew about Dan. Yeah. Because they knew about Dan before Jennette's mama passed away and things like that. But it was like, if we could just keep him in the shadows, write a show, you can be on the set. Yeah. Listen here.
Then maybe we'll get less complaints. And you can keep doing what you're doing.
What they won't see won't hurt them. And I'm like, guess what? That's not honorable. Yeah. And guess what? That's still not good enough. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, 2017, 3 years later, he was banned from the Sam and Cat set. But then he was back on set with 2 new shows that he created. By that time, the Me Too movement started, and people were feeling more confident in speaking up.
What about those women that you quote unquote made them share salary?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
So there was a costume designer lady who called the union and blew the whistle on Dan about these massages. And apparently she wasn't the only one who called in about it, and they were actively looking into it.
Wow. So all this time while you're thinking that you empower, that you're doing all these things, there's someone actually probably on the inside already blew the whistle on you, but they like, you know what? In due time.
Yeah.
And who would have thought at that movement that a movement like Me Too would come out? It felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because when the Harvey Weinstein thing happened, that's when people started looking into like, who else is kind of big, white, kind of look disgusting, but uses their power for this thing. I mean, no, it's the truth. These guys have a look.
Yeah.
It seemed like. It seemed like they have a template look to be this type of guy. And they were like, Dan.
Yeah.
And then they start looking into him. And more times than not, if you find anybody with absolute power, it will be power that is absolutely corrupted. And that's what Dan did. He ain't no special to anybody else in absolute power.
Right. Well, another internal investigation was completed by Nickelodeon, and they actually let him go in 2018.
Wow.
And they found evidence of him being abusive to people in the workplace. So the child stars dealt and are dealing with a lot of self-esteem and self-worth issues.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to speak to that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Going back to, should kids even be working? Because I understand that the toxic work environment and trying to create a safe space for children. But I also feel like children are so delicate and fragile that you can't anticipate what might harm a child in the long run. Like, yes, there are overt things of, assault, abuse, and all that types of things that will definitely impact children. But even just thinking about the boy, to where somebody made the comment about, let's paint him charcoal. He's carried that for the rest of his life. Or to the point where his mom spoke up for him, and actually he was saved in a way from that industry, but he's still dealing with the repercussions of a dream never realized. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
The reason why it's hard to answer because there is so many successful kid shows. Number one, Sesame Street. It's probably the most successful kid show. You get what I'm saying? When you see it done right, it make you go, well, just because there's one bad apple that's spoiled and things like that, we just can't throw away all kid workers.
Okay.
But I'm like, what is the cost of it going wrong compared to it going right?
And is it worth it?
And is it worth
putting
it?
them in
so just because
position.
it goes right, yes. At most, nothing go bad. That is the most thing that can happen if something go right. Is that nothing went bad. But when things go bad, it's bad. You get what I'm saying? So to your point, do we even want to put someone in that situation? Because we're not really going like the best thing that we could get out of this is that no kids was harmed and kids have fun. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen is people go to jail, people potentially get touched, people self-esteem is messed up as an adult.
And the rest of their lives are ruined.
Amanda Bynes don't look like Amanda Bynes today. She don't.
Yeah.
All right, and that's just the facts. She gone through a lot of things with her life as they show like pictures and things like that.
Yeah, and I think she went through like a mental health crisis too, like when she reached adulthood.
So it's definitely like, oh yeah, it's all fun and games until it's not. So that is a question. Should kids be working? I say no. Yeah. Because it's not okay, hold on. Give me a range of kids. Like age though. Like
I'm putting up to 17.
Okay. I'll put up to 16. Okay. I'll say 16. But even then, you're not considered a kid. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Now, like, you're like a teenage show. You get what I'm saying? So it's like...
I'm saying 18-year-olds can play 16. We don't need to have an actual 16-year-old on set.
No, I don't like that. 18-year-old, go to school, play adult roles, actually go to Broadway or go learn some things and things like that.
Okay.
But my thing is like, kids need shows, Blair.
I get that, but what's wrong with cartoons and puppets? And
there's nothing wrong with cartoons. But my thing is,
but I guess children do need to see children. Like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was a great movie. And those are actually like kids in it, and that was great.
So my thing is, you want to take away the kids, and my thing
the thing is, I don't have the answers, but I don't feel like the risk is worth the reward.
So you willing to take away kids shows altogether? What does your kids go watch? They go watch Love Is Blind?
I don't have. I'm just gonna say I don't have the answers, but I just feel like it's just a lot of people who had their hands in child stars' careers, and I don't always feel like the parents have the best interests of their kids at heart either. So I just wish that the children could speak up and protect themselves, but they can't.
They can't, they kids.
They can't.
Question, is this just, are we over exaggerating, right? Meaning that, let me rephrase it. Do you believe that there's more good than bad when it comes to these type of work environments?
No.
Do you think there's more bad than good?
Yeah.
I always believe, I guess it's because I'm an optimistic, I always believe there's more good than bad.
I don't know, because like people say Hollywood is evil. So I think there's something to that. I think there's like a sinister nature and the motives of the people who work in this type of industry. So I think when you're in an industry where fame and money is the focus, people are willing to put their morals, values, and things that they care about in the trash. I think it might be the nature of the industry.
I can't argue that. Because my thing is like, it's like we heard about this show specifically, about this network.
Yeah. Or
at least with this guy. I'm not saying because we haven't heard it's not happening, but I want to believe that this is not happening everywhere. I have to believe the world is made that way. That this type of stuff is not happening everywhere. Because if this stuff is happening everywhere, how can you wake up every day with hope in life? Or hope in justice? Because I
don't put it as like a everything in life everywhere is horrible type of thing. But I just say when it comes to the fame industry, I think the nature of that industry breeds.
So you think even
this type of environment and these type of people,
even in that industry, you saying there's more bad than good?
I just think it's the nature of it. Just like people say the music industry is evil. But like I think that's because it's the overwhelming majority.
Yes, I understand that.
Who are in it and are willing to do anything to become the big name.
I understand that, but even with that, I have to believe in anything. There's more good than bad people in it.
Okay,
it's kind of like cops. Like I grew up not liking cops and things like that. But truth be told, there are more good cops than bad cops.
Okay,
it has to be that way. It makes no sense.
But I think the thing of like not getting to the point to where you feel like overwhelmed by the negative is by taking things on a case by case basis.
That's true.
I can go into the mindset and assume that things aren't safe and put in these precautions. And then if I actually see something that validates that, then I'm already 10 steps ahead of it. You know what I mean? So I think it's more of a cautious mindset.
That makes sense, though. I do agree with that.
Well, moving on, Drake ended up filing for bankruptcy, losing his house, and then he was sentenced to probation and community service for inappropriate text to a child.
Do you remember that case? Because I do a little bit.
I don't. They were saying that it wasn't any inappropriate pictures or anything like that.
I think
the thing is I don't know what the text said. I need to know what they said.
I think. And allegedly, based on what I remember, I should have read up on it, but I overthought thinking that I remembered it. But based on what I remember, I think he was texting a girl.
Okay.
And he didn't know that she was over, and she didn't know that he didn't know she was underage.
Okay.
And things like that. And when he found out how old she was, he basically was like, "I can't wait till you become legal," or something like that. Like basically things like that. Not excusing Drake of anything like that. I just found it very interesting that they shared this within the same documentary that he was, sharing his story.
Right.
But listen, this is the reality of potentially hurt people. You get what I'm saying? Who knows what happened in Brian Peck's life? Who knows? And I'm not excusing him at all. You get what I'm saying? Especially since you got 16 months. You don't need no excuse.
Yeah.
Right? That you go out hurting people. Who knows what type of friends you going to Disneyland or Disney World with? Who knows? Listen, I've never been to any of them. It can't be that fun.
Okay.
Okay, it can't be, right?
Yeah.
But you over here hurting this young man, this child, Drake. Now he's hurt. He ain't got no money. You get what I'm saying? To where he losing his house, he losing his mind. You get what I'm saying? He's drinking. He's finding himself in these DUIs. He finding himself in situations that if he was in a right situation, that he wouldn't be in a situation where he's texting somebody kid and things like that. It's just like, yo, it's an unending cycle.
Yeah. Because
kids are so delicate at that age.
Yeah.
And that they so fragile at that age that you really don't want to impose yourself on them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
What did you think overall about this documentary?
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciated actually having the child stars on there and them telling their experiences, even if they differed. Like one guy, I think it was Kyle, said that Dan always treated him with respect. And then another boy said, Brian said, well, Dan was very cautious with me and he didn't really want to have anything to do with me because his mom was speaking up. So it just paints a fuller picture to have people describing these experiences from all angles. Yeah. So it was interesting. It was hard to watch at times, but I think it is definitely necessary to be out there for people to see that, oh, this isn't just something that people talk about. Like these are things that impact people's lives. So
yeah. It was definitely a good short watch. We finished it in one night. Prayers to everybody involved, the victims at that. I wish we would have got Amanda Bynes. I find it very hard that they did not ask her. I wish we would have heard from Keenan, Kel. I find it very hard that they did not ask them. You know, those type of people that are basically stars in their own right today and things like that. And one thing that we see throughout the history or through the patterns of being a child actor and being a child star, by the time they become adults, they lost. They lived a lot of life before they turned 21.
Before they turned 12.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like they go through a lot. They lose their mind, and then like it's just very hard for me to see Amanda Bynes today. And I think she's trying to be a nail tech. You told me or something like that.
Yeah.
And for me to look at her and not think that like the weight of the world wasn't on your shoulders at one point and you were just crushed by it.
Yeah.
And that there's maybe maybe Drake coming out telling his story, Drake being Drake, that matters too, because it's not just somebody telling their story. Kudos if you are someone that tells your story too, but you need someone of influence, someone that was of that high stature. Drake was the golden boy. Yeah. Maybe this was encourage Amanda to come out and tell her story, or encourage those who may feel like shame and things like that. If it happened to Amanda, some people allege that maybe Dan did something to Amanda. I'm not going to say that because I don't know. Right now, he's doing his apology tour right now. Yeah. Because this documentary came out and we go review that too. Because I always feel some type of way about people that want to apologize after the documentary come out and things like that. When everybody basically like, hey man, what were you on? He's like, oh, well, back when I was younger, I got a lot of people to apologize to. No. The type of stuff that you was cultivating and things that you was doing, you need to be on an apology tour once a year. Yeah. And don't say there are some people that I owe apologies to. Start apologizing. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it's definitely some things that open my eyes to. I don't think Blair gonna let our children get into acting and things like that. Unfortunately, they gonna have to wait till they're 18, and even then, I don't think Blair's gonna approve. By then, they 18, they out my house, so it's all good. But anything else you want to share that you thought about this docuseries and things of that nature? No. Listen here, get in the comments. The show doesn't end when we turn the cameras off. It ends when y'all stop commenting. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Share it, subscribe, like, comment. We will be back with the reaction to the apology probably sometime after you watch this episode.
All right.
That's it?
That's it.
Y'all be good.
Bye.